Assalamu alaikum. Now let us have a look at a new measure in this chapter. Remember, we have three measures here. We have the measure of center and the measure of variation and the measure of position. So let's have a look now at the measure of variation. So the first way to measure the variation is the range. And the range is the simplest way to measure the variation. It's simply the maximum value minus the minimum value in the data. For example, look at this data. The minimum value here is 0.4 and the maximum value is 8.1. So if you subtract 8.1 minus 0.4, you get 7.7. So the range here for this data is 7.7. What are we trying to do really here? We're trying to see the spread of the data. Look at these two examples for different data sets with different variation or different spread. The data set A, suppose the minimum here is 3 and the maximum is 7, while data set B, the minimum is 0 and the maximum is 10. A and B here are showing the distribution shapes, assuming that the shape here is bell shape for both of them. So see, obviously data A has more spread, less spread, because it has a smaller range, short range, from 3 to 7. And the data B has a large range, so it has more spread. The data are more spread. They have many values. The values are different from each other. The values are far away from each other in B compared to A. So that's what we're trying to measure. So the range here for A is small, from 7 minus 3 would be 4, but in the case of B, it will be 10 minus 0. Which is 10. So that's what you're trying to measure, the range or the spread of the data, which is the range, one of the examples to do with. Let us find another example. Here we have Richborn is teaching chemistry, and he gave his students a quiz. Now, here is the scores of the students. What is the range? The range is, again, the maximum value minus the minimum value. So the maximum value here, if you search carefully, 30, 40s, 48, 50s, 59. So 59 is the largest value. And if you look at the minimum value, it's probably 11. So 59 minus 11, which will be 48. So the range is 48. Again, you see the range here has a very easy way to calculate, just the maximum minus the minimum. But at the same time, this is a disadvantage, in fact, because it's ignoring all other values. See, all these values are not used in the calculation. So we're not taking into consideration the distance between these values, how far away these values are from each other. And so a more accurate measure of spread or variation will actually measure the distances between all the values, not just two values, the maximum and the minimum. And that's why there are other ways to measure the variation.